Well, look, this is, if it's approved, would be the largest industrial project, non-government project, in the history of this country, in the middle of one of the last great remaining wilderness areas in the world. I mean, this is a crazy place to put this massive industrial plant, and particularly because there are other alternate sites that are just as economically viable. And it's not me saying that, it's people like JP Morgan, Merrill Lynch, Macquarie Bank and others. So it's just the wrong place to put it. These resources can be developed perfectly easily by piping the gas down to the Pilbara, which is already pretty much wrecked, or as Shell is doing, processing offshore there. They've got a processing plant proposed in this same area, 200 kilometres offshore, and no one is opposing that. No Green Group, not me, not anyone.
These
so
are they're much costlier alternatives though, aren't they?
No, they're not. No, they're not. And that's exactly the point that some of these merchant bankers have made. Indeed, one recent report said there are even some savings to be made by processing them in some of these other places. However, the West Australian government absolutely insists that it be done at this particular location in the Kimberley. Why? Well, the plan of the Western Australian Premier, Colin Barnett, is to industrialise the whole of the Kimberley. He's said that on the record. That's what he wants to do. He thinks that a wilderness area is a wasteland. He doesn't see it as an incredible resource. This is the last remaining pristine savanna region left on the planet.
Now,
and
Geoff,
this bloke wants to industrialise it.
Not only does he want to do it, you've documented and are very scathing of some of the top miners in this country as to their approach, and particularly your dealings with them. They've been disappointed in you, and you've been very disappointed in them.
Well, indeed, because, you know, people like the chairman of Woodside, Michael Chaney, who is a highly respected business person, was trying to say to me in a meeting I had with him that, you know, the Aboriginal people in the Kimberley wouldn't get any benefits from this unless it was located at this particular place. In other words, and Colin Barnett, the Premier, has said the same thing. In other words, the proposition being put is you only get good health and educational benefits if some industrial plant is put in your backyard. Well, what is this? This is Haiti or some peculiar country like that? This is Australia. If you need better education benefits and health benefits, you get them because you're an Australian, not because somebody plonks a massive industrial plant in your backyard.
And he was trying to characterise you as, in fact, stopping development for the Indigenous community by being unethical. He called you unethical.
He did say that. He said I was acting unethically, not the company, in trying to suggest that this plant should go somewhere else. I mean, the facts are this, as I say in that Global Mail article, and I spent a lot of time looking into them. In the Pilbara, where Woodside and many other mining companies have been there for 40-odd years, you would therefore expect that the health and educational benefits of Aboriginal people would have gone way up, according to their statements. Well, a study by the ANU says just the opposite. Nothing has changed. Indeed, in some places there's even been a decline. I mean, these are just false statements. They're false promises.
Geoff, a lot's changed for you too, because you've been part of that corporate sector for so long. Many of these people are your friends. You now say you find yourself almost frozen out from this group. How does that feel, where you're almost now a pariah in circles that you were so welcomed?
No, I don't say that. I certainly don't say that. Indeed, I'd say 90% of people that I do business with, including some very senior business figures, applaud the view that I'm trying to put, namely that you can develop these resources in a responsible way. I'm not suggesting that you don't develop them. That would be a ridiculous point of view. What I am saying is that they ought to be done properly and carefully so that they don't destroy these unique wilderness areas. And most people I talk to support it. But of course the people who are going to directly benefit, they don't like it at all. I mean, you get between somebody and a great pile of money and they get pretty angry.
So do you feel it's a smaller group that are actually sort of coming at you and taking you on rather than the broader corporate sector?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, in the mining community, they're a terribly tight-knit group, as I point out in that article. There are some rather strange personalities amongst them. Gina Reinhardt, perhaps being one of the more unusual ones, and her father, of course, was a particularly unusual person, a man who said that. There was a great problem with half-castes, and the way to solve it was to put something in the water holes that would render them infertile.
Just
you
on
remember
that,
Con?
I do, and on that topic
Yeah.
of Gina Reinhardt, and I guess for you as an outside observer, what do you make of the play that she's now making into mainstream media, and you know, people being very concerned about the fact that she may be using this as a mouthpiece and a platform for her political views?
I don't have any doubt about that. No doubt at all. And that's what her father did. He started 2 newspapers in Western Australia himself. Both failed, but he did start them. I think she is trying to go down the same path with investments in the media. And look, really, there's no logical reason for making those investments. The companies she's investing in aren't performing too well, so you wouldn't be doing it just to get a return. And I think that is a disturbing trend. If you want to go and start a newspaper in this country, you're perfectly entitled to do that, and you can publish it whatever you like. But to try and buy a share in a newspaper and then control its editorial, or indeed any other media in this country, is just plain wrong. And I think it's a very concerning development.